Hello, everyone, and welcome to Crow's Archery and Motorcycle Adventures. I'm Crow, your host, and today we're going to be talking about it's a very important topic, and it's something that I've actually come to learn firsthand, and that is losing yourself in various situations, places, people, things. Um, and this is going to be a heavy one, so before we go ahead and jump in, like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification if you'd like to be notified of me uploading more videos. So where this is stemming from stems from my, I guess you could say, dating life. You know, the last girl I actually saw was over a year and a half ago. I haven't really gone out of my way to even try anymore. And there was something that she would say when we were seeing each other where she was like, oh, I don't do relationships because I end up losing myself in them. Fast forward, 6 months after we're done talking and hanging out, she's in a relationship. So we'll touch on that later. But the point is, there was an important line that she was saying, and that was about losing herself. And I think it's very important to really emphasize and look at that phrase, losing yourself. And really the big reason I'm even discussing this is because I felt like I have lost myself. It was funny because I would sit there and hear that phrase and think, why would I ever put anyone in that kind of position to make them feel as if they were losing themselves? Little did I know what that actually meant was making someone else lose themselves based on their actions. And that's what happened to me. And what has been over the course of several months. God, it's been like a year. I kept telling myself, it's like, you know what? Say what I need to say, which I did. That backfired terribly. I didn't say anything bad. I just didn't understand the way that her attachment, system worked, or her nervous system worked. It was completely opposite of mine. And so anytime that you express emotion, it's just like this blank stare or this lack of empathy, lack of emotion, really. And really, after it was all said and done, I lost myself because I wanted to give someone else the benefit of the doubt, when really she told me from the beginning she didn't deserve someone as kind as me. I should have paid attention. Really, I shouldn't have ever gotten involved. But honestly, I was trying to give somebody the benefit of the doubt, and I was following this feeling within me, because I had that girl over here at my house looking out the window, and there was a moment in time when I went up to her and I hugged her. I felt in that moment that maybe something real was finally happening for me. But little did I know, really all it was another lesson. I seem to get those all the time. People ask me what it is that I want in life. The thing is that I have basically everything I want in life, but what I don't have is someone that actually loves me for me. Not in the family sense, but in the significant other sense. I've been married before. That was a shit show. I've dated chicks throughout the years. They've all been similar situations. And so, I have to eventually step back and ask, what is wrong with me? And I could sit here and list all kinds of, flaws that I have, or things that I say, or things that I do. But I can also confidently say that I have never done any of these chicks really wrong. Never. And I know that for a fact. I will stand by that wholeheartedly. But they all have one thing in common. Can you guess what that is? They all have the programming of me internally, while they're putting a different picture in your face and then pull the rug out from you when you least expect it. And then act as if I'm the one that did something wrong, when in all actuality they were just dishonest and disingenuous. And I stand by that. And that seems to be a big problem in today's world. You see people talk about it all the time. And they inevitably end up losing themselves inside of chasing after someone's validation that really doesn't deserve it. And you think that it's you being loyal, or you think it's you proving your devotion, or really just being who you are, when really they've got completely ulterior motives the whole time. Maybe use you, take you for whatever, make you look like a fool. And that's why I finally realized, and I finally decided, I will never fall in love again. Period. In today's world, it is not worth it. Absolutely not worth it. These people will look you in your face, crying and bawling their eyes out, and still be lying. It's a shame, dude. It's absolutely insane. Now, I know you could say, oh, well, what about what you've done? What was it that you did that caused certain things? Honesty. From the beginning. As well as trying to give the benefit of the doubt by ignoring red flags. I highly suggest that you do not ignore red flags. These kinds of people will tell you from the very beginning who they are. But if you aren't careful and you're only listening to your want and desire to be loved, and when you give that out and they're not reciprocating, or even if they are, they could be faking it the whole time. I would know. I have a problem with attracting these kind of people. You know, I also made a vow with that whole I will never fall in love again. Really, what it boils down to is I will never lose myself again. I find it ironic, somebody telling me they're worried about losing themselves when really all they're doing is making someone else lose themselves. But of course, it's got to be switched around to where it's me. I know I sound cynical, but I'm going to tell you something. I am so fucking tired of showing up in connections genuinely, completely 100% genuinely, and laying out what it is that I bring to this table. And then hearing basically everything I want to hear in return and actually believing in something. Just to have the rug pulled out from under me again and again and again and again and again. It's funny because, you know, everyone talks about how they want something genuine. But the reality is what these people tell you they want is not what they respond to. It's not. It's a joke. And these motherfuckers think that they're great parents or would-be great parents or great leaders, when really they're just a bunch of secret narcissistic fucks. You want to talk about pain? I can tell you about pain. And men can especially. You know how common it is for us to run into things like this? While we're constantly told by society about how men are garbage and we do all these terrible things. Sure, there are plenty of us that do, but there's plenty of us that don't. And it's like people don't know how to handle that, and they don't want to be able to admit that either. Which is insanity to me. It really does show me that this world is ran by good and evil. You know, the fucked up part was that last one that I was seeing. I actually really started to like her because I thought and felt like maybe she liked me too. Genuinely. And really all it was just two people playing off of each other's internal wounds. Me being the very empathetic person and the other one being a very avoidant person. But add a lot of fake to it. Add, all these things that I should have been told up front to where I could have avoided this. I could have avoided not having to feel this way. But of course not. It's all about what she wanted. Because that's all that matters. What about me? When I know for a fact I never, ever, ever did her wrong. But, let's not forget all the other things that I don't know about. While I was there being genuine and only focusing on this one connection, which is a mistake, by the way. You should absolutely, if you are single and you're out in the dating world, you should date multiple people. Absolutely. I'm not saying sleep with multiple people, but you should see and talk to multiple people. Because if you are like me and you end up getting to a point to where you're trying to focus your attention on one person, because that's just who you are, you're going to be disappointed. In today's world, you will absolutely be disappointed. Because guess what? They're doing it, but they're not going to tell you that. Where have we gone wrong where honesty has just become a bygone? I'm so sick and tired of this shit. Really. I'm sure several of you know what it's like to wake up every day knowing that you're doing your best, living your life with some form of integrity. But it's just easier to discard people like a paper plate than it is to be honest. And there's a difference between being honest and being a fucking jerk or being mean. Especially when these people are trying to defend themselves against someone who's never done them wrong or really is doing them wrong. Instead, they just want to act like it's a buffet. Tell you what, never again. Mark my words, I vow, never again. It's not worth it. It's not. And I'm not saying that there aren't possibilities out there, and I'm not saying that there, obviously there are people out here that have it really well with each other and they're doing pretty good, but I'm telling you, this dating world today sucks. It's full of just garbage people doing terrible things, acting as if it's all okay when it's not. Bunch of liars, manipulators, cheaters, narcissists, sociopaths. I remember telling, in fact, something I've told almost every girl I've ever messed around with or dated is that if they are attracted to me, there's something wrong with them. And sure enough, I'm proven right every single time. But I must acknowledge the part that I play in my own suffering. As I mentioned, ignoring red flags by trying to give the benefit of the doubt because, I've done terrible things. But that doesn't mean that I still live my life doing those terrible things. I'm over it, man. Really, truly, I'm over it. Sometimes we just got to learn when to admit defeat. Sometimes we got to learn to accept that there are just some things that are not for us. Maybe they never will be. But whatever you do not lose yourself in these people that show and prove every day why they are untrustworthy and why they have problem after problem after problem after problem. I could put myself in that same category. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm far from it. I've done bad things. But I will say, at least I have spent my time investing in myself to the point where I'm not out here treating people like paper plates to toss away when you're done with. Fuck those people, man. Waste of space. And all these fucking retards out here that, talk about how bad they are and all this other shit, they can have them. You can have them. Because I'm done with any of them trying to come over here and ruin my life, my peace. They can be your problem now. Either way, I love y'all so much. Sorry for the rant, but I think it is an important message. Don't lose yourself. Especially don't lose yourself out here on people that are not deserving of your presence. Again, I love y'all. Peace.